What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, undefeated, two division world champion, currently the reigning middleweight WBC world champion, superstar boxer, Jermall Lions Only Charlo, got a spectacular victory yesterday over Sergey Derevyanchenko, who is one tough technician middleweight contender with tons of skills. With that said, Jermall Charlo got a unanimous decision victory, and he made it look easy to an extent. Now, Sergey Derevyanchenko gives everybody tough fights, even though he was dropped in two of his biggest fights. Well, the two biggest fights in his career leading into the Jermall Charlo fight, that against former two-time middleweight world champion Daniel the Miracle Man Jacobs, and against former unified middleweight world champion, two-time world champion, and currently the IBF middleweight world champion Gennady Triple G Golovkin. He was dropped in both those fights. But when he got up, he had a whole different level of intensity. He had a whole different approach to the fight. It's like it woke him up, right? And one can argue he won both of those fights. I personally thought he definitely won the Gennady Triple G Golovkin fight. And one could argue he won the Danny Jacobs fight. Now, I thought Danny Jacobs edged it out because of the knockdown, I think proved to be the difference. And then we have Jermall Charlo Sergey Derevyanchenko fight. And he doesn't get dropped in the fight, but he still gets dominated. That's a testament to the skill set and the greatness of Jermall Charlo. Because without even dropping Sergey Derevyanchenko, he clearly won the fight. He didn't clearly win the fight or lose the fight to Gennady Golovkin. He didn't clearly lose the fight to Danny Jacobs. He clearly got outclassed by Jermall Charlo. Now, he did have moments. He did win some rounds. He did have these spurts. But he normally keeps that level of intensity up. Once he revs it up at that point in time during the fight, it never comes back down. In this fight, it was like a roller coaster. And the reason it was like a roller coaster was due to the fact that Jermall's jab was like a piston. It was like a straight right hand, and it's his straight left jab that he dropped Julian J. Rock Williams down, former junior middleweight unified world champion. He dropped him and hurt him bad with a jab. And that jab showed up again last night against Sergey Derevyanchenko. Both of Sergey Derevyanchenko's eyes were shut. And again, I'll reiterate, Sergey Derevyanchenko didn't hit the deck. Because Jermall Charlo's boxing abilities, he didn't just need to throw with power. He threw with precision against the guy that's nicknamed the technician in Sergey Derevyanchenko. And yet Jermall Charlo out-technicianed the technician. He outboxed the boxer. So with that said, this leads me to Jermall Charlo being the most avoided guy in boxing. Because there are mega fights that loom for Jermall Charlo, and yet he can't get them to come to fruition. Obviously, one being four-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who campaigned at 154 when Jermall Charlo was the champion at 154, and then he left the division. Then Jermall Charlo became his mandatory at 160, the full middleweight limit, and he asked to be franchised in order to not honor his mandatory challenge in Jermall Charlo, that same Saul Canelo Alvarez. And then you have Gennady Triple G Golovkin, who should be going into a unification bout with Jermall Charlo. But it seems like that's not even a possibility. It's not even a conversation. It's not even a thought for most people. Solely because everybody's of the mindset and understands that Gennady Triple G Golovkin has no interest in going anywhere near the ring that Jermall Charlo is going to be competing in. No interest. And that's sad because they compete in the very same division, and we should get the best fight in the best. Another guy, a fight that should be taking place, is a fight between Jermall Charlo and fellow two-division world champion, fellow middleweight world champion, fellow undefeated fighter in WBO middleweight world champion superstar boxer, Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. Now, there's definitely some history there. And I don't say Demetrius Andrade has been avoiding Jermall Charlo because I don't believe that to be the case. I just think that Demetrius Andrade and his team just can't find a way to negotiate big fights and get them over the hump for Demetrius Andrade, as Demetrius Andrade has yet to have that significant signature fight in his career. Anybody. He had the opportunity to fight Jermall Charlo's twin brother, who is now unified, a two-time junior middleweight world champion, and he currently holds the WBC, WBA, IBF, IBO, and Ring Magazine titles. Jermall Charlo. Demetrius Andrade was signed to fight him. Then, coming down the stretch, he decided he didn't like the terms that he agreed upon in the contract, and he pulled out the fight, seeking more money after he already agreed, and the fight was ready to be delivered. From that point on, Demetrius Andrade has struggled to find a significant signature fight for his legacy. And he still struggles to do so. Ironically enough, he was signed to face British superstar world champion boxer Billy Joe Saunders, who's undefeated, southpaw, slick, and a superstar in the UK. They were signed to fight, and then Billy Joe Saunders miraculously tested positive for a banned substance and was removed from the fight. So Demetrius Andrade still didn't land that significant fight, which seemed to be Billy Joe Saunders, and he still hasn't done it to this day. And with that said, you have guys like Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Triple G Golovkin, even Danny Jacobs, won't give Jermall Charlo the opportunity. Is this a telltale sign that Jermall Charlo is going to have to move up to 168, as he's hinted at recently that he could possibly go up there and face two-time super middleweight WBC world champion, undefeated Mexican superstar boxer David Benavidez, who lost his WBC title on the scale in his last outing because he missed weight. Jermall Charlo said he don't mind going up to 68 and facing David Benavidez. Is this the route that Jermall Charlo is going to have to take in his career? He got the signature win that everybody, quote-unquote, was saying that he hadn't faced. But he faced Julian J. Rock Williams. They were saying the same thing when he's at 154 and was saying that he was going to go to 160. And everybody said he was doing so in order to avoid Julian J. Rock Williams. He put a halt to that, went in reverse, faced Julian J. Rock Williams before going up to 160 and knocked him out. Then went up to 160, still can't get the fights. Now he got the Sergey Derevyanchenko fight. This may have been a gift and a curse for Jermall Charlo because he outclassed a guy that everybody thought was going to give him tons and tons of problems. And he had spots, he had spurts, he had moments in the fight. But he clearly was in there with somebody that was a better technician, and that's scary because Sergey Derevyanchenko's nickname is the technician. And Jermall Charlo went in there and out-technicianed the technician fairly easy. As I said, the technician, both his eyes, who was a great guy, were closed shut due to Jermall Charlo's technical abilities. So is that a deterrent for guys to step in the ring with Jermall Charlo, who's a big, strapping, young, athletic middleweight, doesn't know how to lose, can outbox you clearly, but we know he has the power? Who's going to be next? Is he going to have to leave the division to get the significant signature, quote-unquote, fight for his legacy? because he just passed the test, the toughest test of his career, with flying colors against Sergey Derevyanchenko. Is Canelo Alvarez willing to give him the opportunity? I think not. Is Triple G willing to give him the opportunity? I think not. He may have to just go the route of facing Demetrius Andrade or just leaving the division, taking on those 168-pounders. It's one of the most avoided guys in the sport of boxing today. And it's sickening because we want to see the best fight the best. Point blank and period. But he's shown his worth. He's proved his talent. And he deserves those signature fights, those legacy fights. And the pressure needs to be on these oppositions to make these fights happen. So let's see what his near future is looking like. We know that they're talking about a possibility of him facing Chris Eubanks Jr. I don't see that being a challenge. No disrespect to Chris Eubanks Jr. I just think that Jermall Charlo is just too big, too athletic, too technical, too strong for Chris Eubanks Jr. that makes too many mistakes on defense. And he will pay for them. So let's see what the outcome is. Let's see what direction Jermall Charlo goes in and what's next for him. Interesting. But drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to New Media. Shouts out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.